As your understanding of life gets deeper,
आपकी चेतना में जगे हुए
profound truths
अपने आप ही
get revealed in your consciousness automatically and naturally become the guiding force of your life.
जैसे जैसे
As higher truths are revealed in your life,
उजागर होते जाते हैं,
lesser truths
से अपने आप ही
automatically gets dropped from the mind.
जैसे जैसे
As higher energy tasks become a part of your lives, without any doubt, helplessly, lower energy tasks will start to appear futile and meaningless.
जैसे जैसे आनंद के अलग अलग फ्लेवर्स,
As you will start experiencing the higher intensity of different flavors of bliss, Ananda, the mind automatically loses interest from lower pleasures. This is a naturally happening process.
deliberately कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं रहती.
There is no need to do anything deliberately for that. The deeper your understanding of Dharma becomes, the mind automatically moves away from the 6 enemies of consciousness, the Shadaripus. This is what I have been observing in lives of literally millions of people in my spiritual journey of last 28 years. Only until the deeper truths are not understood, people are seen living life as slaves of Maya.
Once the truth is known, there is no escape from it.
It is definitely possible that, in spite of knowing the truth, due to the strong effect of tendencies and habits, for some span of time, the mind keeps falling into the same negative tendencies and continues to indulge in the same activity.
उसी एक्टिविटी में इंडल्ज करता रहा.
But as soon as the truth is remembered and rekindled, once again the resolve for negative to neutral, to get rid of the negativities and to include the most benevolent activities in your life becomes even stronger and firmer. This will happen on its own. Sometimes I see here I also see the role of Satyarthis, seekers of truth, of contributing in each other's lives. Those who are oriented in these truths of life, it is their responsibility to just keep reminding each other that what is the purpose of this human birth? What do you want to get in this life? Where do you want to take your life? If you observe carefully, what all activities do we do from morning till night? Sometimes the activities are inspired by Sat, knowingness, some are inspired by Chit, aliveness, and some are inspired by Ananda, bliss. If you observe carefully, in order to do any of these activities, what do we invest? We invest the three instruments given to us by nature.
that the nature has given us.
They will be used in every activity.
उपयोग में आएंगे ही.
Which are these instruments?
हैं? तो मैं कहता हूँ सबसे
The first
पहला
one
तुम्हारा
is
समय.
time.
कोई भी
Some
कार्य
activities
तुम्हारा समय
will
मांगेगा,
require less time,
तुम्हें देना ही पड़ेगा. कोई
some would
कार्य ऐसे
require
होंगे
more
जो
time,
थोड़ा सा समय
but you
मांगेंगे,
will have to inevitably
कोई
give your
कार्य
time
बड़ा
to
लंबा
any
समय
activity.
मांगने वाले कार्य होंगे. लेकिन every activity of your life will demand time from you. दूसरा,
Second,
हर कार्य में तुम्हें अपने
in any activity, you will have to invest your energy to do that particular activity.
ऊर्जा का योगदान देना ही पड़ेगा.
So, second is energy.
कुछ कार्य
Some
छोटा
activities will require
energy
less
consumption
energy,
करते हैं,
and some
कुछ
will
कार्य
require a lot of energy to do it.
पूरी एनर्जी साथ कर लेंगे तुम्हारी. लेकिन
But the consumption of energy is almost inevitable. And the third, as per my understanding, the most important instrument that gets used in any activity is your attention, your mind.
जब यहाँ मैं अपना मन देने की
And when
बात
I am
कह रहा
saying
हूँ,
mind
mind,
here,
intellect,
I mean
memory, ego,
mind,
मन, बुद्धि,
intellect,
चित्त,
memory and
अहंकार,
ego,
पूरा का
your
पूरा
inner world.
तुम्हारा अंदर का
The entire inner world gets focused on that activity for that much span of time when you are doing that particular activity.
time, energy,
You give
and
these
mind,
three
तीन
instruments of
साधन
time,
तुम
energy
अपनी
and
तरफ से
mind
लेते
from
हो
your
किसी
side
भी
in
कार्य
any
में.
activity.
मैं कह रहा हूँ
I am saying so precious and extraordinarily valuable these three instruments are.
how extraordinarily valuable they are.
You will have to see this, that time is not unlimited.
Unlimited नहीं है. Energy
Nor is energy unlimited.
नहीं है. तुम अपना attention
And it's not even possible to give your attention to any activity for an infinite span of time.
infinite समय तक attention देते रहोगे, ऐसा नहीं कर सकते.
Time, energy and mind, all these three should be spent after careful consideration.
समझ के देना चाहिए. समय का
If you look at the total time of you having this human life,
टोटल समय कितना मिला तुम्हें? सपोज 80 साल जिए.
even though the life expectancy nowadays is 60-65 years,
60-65 years
even then, I say you live, say for example, 75 years.
तो घंटे
Then how many hours do you have? 75 into 365 into 24. After which you will have to drop the body. I am saying, is your energy unlimited? If you continue to indulge in activities that drain your energy,
तुम्हारी ऊर्जा को सैप करने वाले कार्यों में ही लगे हो,
then in some time you are going to be so tired, so drained. Are you listening to me? Time, energy and mind, these three are the instruments that you have. If you observe carefully, you give your time, energy and mind in three directions in order to increase your Sat, Chit and Anand and experience pleasure. Which are these three directions? The first direction is where you want happiness from the outer world, from people, from things and situations. But in the subject of the tendencies of greed and attachment, we have already seen the futility of all these things in the previous discussions. How much ever people, things and situations you gather, neither your levels of Sat, knowingness, Chit, aliveness and nor your Anand, bliss would increase. The purpose of your life, of evolution, of your attributes of Sat, Chit and Anand is not getting fulfilled here. How much ever time, energy and mind you give to the outer world, you are not going to get much in return. That is why our Rishis called it a game of Maya, called it illusion, called it a mirage. It is indeed like a mirage. Pleasure appears to be in some person, thing or situation till it does not come into your possession. As soon as you possess them, the pleasure evaporated and always appeared to be further away. That's why it has been called a mirage. It clearly appeared that there was a water at a certain spot. But when you reach that spot and you still remained thirsty as there was no water there to begin with, it was only an illusion. The water always appeared to be further away. Now look at this in the context of your own life experiences. You were so sure in college days that if you have 7-8 lakh rupees, then life is set. Now perhaps you have reached that point where you are now targeting 25 lakh rupees. Now once you reach that target, you will perhaps aim for 50 lakhs. And once even that is accomplished, you will probably target 2 crores. I am not saying you should not gather things in the outer world. All I am saying is, how much ever you gather in the outer world, it still remains tamasic pleasure. In the 18th chapter of the Gita, Lord Krishna says to Arjuna,
Ma kuru dhana jana yauvan garvam harati nimishat kalah sarvam maya mayamidam akhilam hitva brahma padam tvam pravisha viditva. Ki ma kuru dhana jana yauvan garvam
means do not have the pride of wealth, people and youth that you possess. In a blink of an eye, time takes them all away. Then the Lord is saying,
तब भगवान कह रहे हैं,
while saving your mind from the game of Maya,
अपने मन को इस माया के खेल से छुड़ाते हुए, बचाते हुए,
live your life by imbibing Dharma in your mind. Hold on to the Brahmapada. Live your life for the supreme state of complete blossoming.
मन में धारण करते हुए
Live a life holding on to Dharma.
धर्म धारण करो.
I will explain the game of the outer world with an analogy.
मैं इसको इस तरह से देखता हूँ जैसे
Let's say a child went to play a game of marbles and proudly, with a lot of happiness, came back after winning the game. And he is proudly telling his mother, "Look mom, I won 25 marbles." The mother, with all her love, would praise the child, but is also amused as she knows in her mind that he has just brought home some worthless pieces of glass. Are you listening to me? My dears, these Mercedes Benz and BMWs, big houses, mansions, large diamonds, they appear to be like worthless pieces of glass to a spiritually mature intellect. Still, if we try to understand our life in a holistic manner, by observing the examples in the world and with your own life experiences also, you will come to this point: how much ever time, energy and mind you give, you offer, you donate, you sacrifice for the outer world,
दान दिया जाए, बलिदान दिया जाए, त्याग किया जाए.
You do not get much in terms of the evolution of the soul's consciousness. Look at the whole world. You will see examples of this phenomenon in the lives of millions. They are merely gathering worthless pieces of glasses.
फिर दूसरी दिशा है.
And the second direction of seeking pleasure is through 5 senses: seeing through the eyes, hearing through the ears, smelling through the nose, tasting through the tongue, and touching through the skin. The 5 sensory pleasures have always been called Rajasic pleasures in our scriptures. You get nothing from pleasures of the outer world, and hence they are in the tamasic pleasures. In the Rajasic pleasures, you get little pleasure in the form of instant gratification. Say for example, there is a tasty delicacy like a gulab jamun, a dessert. It gives you pleasure immediately as soon as you put it in your mouth. It can be any dish that you like: gulab jamun, rasgulla, or Indian mango pulp, it gives instantaneous pleasure. If you smell some nice perfume, it gives you pleasure almost instantaneously. You would say, oh wow, it smells great. You smell a flower, it would give you a pleasure instantaneously. Say you looked at a nice picture. As soon as you see it, you would say, oh, this is so beautiful. And instantaneously experience the pleasure. Same is the case with the sense of touch. But look at the design of that sensory pleasure. How much pleasure can it give you? Look at how utterly limited it can offer you. How much pleasure can you get through smell, touch, taste, sight and sound? It has a limit, and that limit is also very shallow. But the limitedness of the pleasure is not the only point. The game is that in the domain of Rajasic pleasures, once that limit is reached, the same activity of sensory indulgence is going to start draining your energy. And the energy drained is directly proportional to the intensity of pleasure that can be obtained from that sense object. The amount of pleasure possible is directly connected to which sense organ is being used. The amount of pleasure you get by tasting something is always much more than how much ever you smell. The sense of smell will always give you lesser. The pleasure of taste can be felt for 10 to 15 minutes, but the pleasure of smell is only for a few seconds at the most. The ability of the five senses to experience pleasure is so limited, and as soon as that peak, that limit is reached, it starts draining your energy. You can eat something tasty, but if you overeat, even a little more, then for 2.5 hours, your energy remains drained and you feel like a zombie. Exactly like that, the highest sensory pleasure in the five senses is of the sense of touch, of lust, whether it be sexual intercourse or masturbation or orgasm or whatever. But the drain of energy after indulging in it is also proportionally high. After 3 to 4 hours of having had a meal, you might feel re-energized. But after indulging in the pleasure of lust, for a very long time, your Sat, knowingness, is depleted, your Chit, aliveness, is depleted, and your Anand, bliss, is also depleted. You will get only a little, but there is a big amount to lose. This is how the game of the five sensory pleasures are designed. These pleasures give instant momentary gratification, but give pain for a very long time, and hence they are called Rajasic pleasures. So you get nothing from the outer world's tamasic pleasures. However much time, energy and mind you devote to it, neither your Sat, nor your Chit, nor your Anand will increase. From the Rajasic pleasures of the five senses, you definitely get some momentary pleasure, but it will deplete your Sat, Chit, Anand for a longer time. Tamasic pleasures are called the game of rogis, the diseased ones. Rajasic pleasures are the game of bogies, those who indulge. And then the third type of pleasure is sattvic pleasure, in which initially some effort and some discipline are required, but there is no upper limit to experience the pleasure. You can intensify and heighten the pleasure as much as you want. Your sat will also increase, your chit will also increase, and your anand will also increase by these three activities of sattvic pleasures: sadhana, satsang, and seva. Now keep your life experiences that you've had until now in reference and understand this. The level of Sat, Chit and Anand at which you started your sadhana, after 25-30 minutes of sadhana, your levels of Sat, Chit, Anand, your levels of energy, your levels of joy get greatly uplifted every single time. I am saying, my dears, half an hour of sadhana has the capacity to beautify the remaining 23.5 hours of the day. The first step of sadhana in sattvic pleasures has such fantastic power. This also we can imagine and visualize like a pyramid. At the base of the pyramid, there are millions, billions of souls across the world who are interested in tamasic pleasures. They are wasting their time, energy and mind and are getting nothing in return. There is no upliftment of Satchit Anand. But as they do not know any other way of living and they see people around them living in a similar manner, they also live like that. In the same pyramid, slightly above this level, are people who are trying to get the most refined and heightened experiences of the 5 sensory pleasures through some skillful maneuvering. See, even though the pleasure of taste from food has an upper limit, they will try to present the food in a very beautified manner. They will create a beautiful environment. They will have a candlelight dinner and have the same food in a very beautiful ambience. But what they are doing? They are eating that food. Even in the pleasure of sex, they will try to innovate and prolong the pleasure, take it to its highest possible limits and make it as sensuous as possible. But what happens ultimately? They can't go beyond a limit, my dear. It's no one's fault, but this is how life and consciousness are designed. This is how it is. How much ever time, energy and mind you give to the outer world, you get nothing in return. How much ever time, energy and mind you give to the 5 sensory pleasures, what you get is extremely limited and will have to bear the drop in energy. There is a high possibility of your mind getting contaminated. You check with your life experiences as a reference. The enthusiasm with which you sit to watch a movie, in just 15-20 minutes, that enthusiasm and energy are already depleted. And you then continue watching the movie just because you had started it. And even in that duration, you wait for seeing or hearing something pleasurable. And by the end of the movie, you must have seen, you feel so drained, like a zombie. Your Sat, Chit and Anand, all get depleted,
प्रसन्नता गिरी,
joy is depleted,
and
and the mind gets contaminated.
mind
With what? With
काम,
lust,
क्रोध,
greed,
लोभ,
anger,
मोह, मद,
attachment,
मत्सर से
jealousy,
ग्रसित
and
हुआ,
flavors of ego.
वो कचरा अलग।
In addition to this, accumulated filth. Another disadvantage is that you will have to empty this filth through sadhana and surrender only.
डिसएडवांटेज।
Are you listening to me? Such is the game of this outer world. The Creator has designed it so fantastically. Evolved souls save their minds by following spiritual disciplines. If you remember the 7 disciplines I gave in the first session, you will understand their purpose. They are to save your mind, your Satchit Anand from negativities, to uplift your Satchit Anand and to give you beautiful experiences. Each of these 7 disciplines are like this. Are you listening? Wake up and see, my dears. How much time, energy and mind you are giving in which direction? If you are giving it to the outer world, then you need to really check what you are getting in return. If you are giving them to the 5 sensory pleasures, you really need to wake up and see what are you getting in return. And also see this, when you give them for sadhana, seva and satsang, what are you getting in return? You will reach the same conclusions through your explorations, which our rishis have propounded as formulas since thousands of years. That is when you will realize the importance of the spiritual guidelines that are given in our scriptures. And how extraordinarily intelligent it is. These guidelines apply to every person of any country, of any age, of any level of intelligence. If he or she is a human being, these formulas will apply to their lives. Whatever is your stage of evolution, you need to understand the process of evolution from that vantage point. I am saying we also need to understand sattvic pleasures. If you observe the pyramid, I am only talking about human beings here. As higher possibility or understanding is not available to other animals. There are 7.5 billion people having a human body. I am keeping only their reference in my mind. We can say that the base of pyramid consists of people who are engrossed in tamasic pleasures of gathering people, things and situations of the outer world is very big. At the next level in the process of evolution are those seeking the rajasic pleasures of the 5 senses.
Evolution के process में बाहर की दुनिया से सुख ढूंढो, 5 इंद्रियों से।
Above that, the first level of sattvic pleasures is of sadhana.
साधना का है।
In sadhana, what all I will include? Then I will include yogasana, asanas, pranayams, breathing exercises, sudarshan kriya, meditation, which are practices to attain the state of samadhi. These beautiful practices are called sadhana. Maharishi Patanjali ji has given us the 8 limbs of yoga.
कहते हैं यम, नियम, आसन, प्राणायाम, प्रत्याहार.
Pratyahar is detaching your mind from the maya of the outer world and looking within, sitting with yourself.
प्रत्याहार कहते हैं उसको. फिर कहते हैं धारणा.
Then is dharana, which means
सुंदर
to hold on to benevolent intentions
संकल्पों को धारण करो,
which give a specific direction to your life,
एक स्पेसिफिक दिशा में
resolving to hold them. Then comes dhyan.
किसी एक जैसे अलग अलग
In different spiritual paths, people use different points to focus upon and different techniques to do dhyan.
पर अलग अलग तरीकों पर टेक्निक्स पर ध्यान करते हैं.
So the result of dharana and dhyan
धारणा और
is
ध्यान
samadhi.
का फल है समाधि.
So after giving up the tamasic and rajasic pleasures, a mind can practice these 8 limbs of yoga in order to holistically beautify, uplift and refine its consciousness in Sat Chit Ananda through Yam, Niyam, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan and Samadhi.
अपने सत चित आनंद वाली चेतना का संपूर्ण विकास करने के लिए काम में लग जाए. ये पॉइंट.
This is the point. This is what the game of sadhana
का
is.
खेल है.
Those who have experienced sadhana, I would directly ask them a question. You tell me, is it possible to receive the experience equivalent to that of Sudarshan Kriya and meditation through the pursuits of the outer world or the 5 senses?
5 इंद्रियों के डायरेक्शन में कभी भी पाया है क्या?
You can verify from life experience that the level of these sattvic pleasures is absolutely different. And in the pyramid, this sadhana is at the base of the sattvic pleasures. If you observe, even in our Art of Living courses, we introduce the participants first to sadhana. After the experience of sadhana is established on a regular basis,
के बाद जीवन का दूसरा स्टेप,
the next step of life in sattvic pleasures is that of satsang. Satsang has 2 sections. One is singing devotional songs, bhajans, chanting and celebrating by being grateful to the divine, the Guru principle.
के बारे में धन्य भागी होते हुए उत्सव मनाना,
This comes out of gratefulness. You would have observed that when we sing a beautiful bhajan, devotional song, the whole environment becomes engulfed in love, devotion and joy. So again and again creating a blast of bliss in the collective consciousness through that expression of devotion, this is one section of satsang.
ब्लास्ट करना, ये सत्संग का एक अंग है.
The other section of satsang is what we are doing right now.
जो अभी हम कर रहे हैं, सत्य संग,
Being in the company of the truth, exploring and holding on to the deepest truths of life. This is what satsang is about. If you observe carefully, of course, the extraordinarily beautiful expressions of devotion through bhajans, devotional songs, even film songs sometimes, and the waves of bliss and devotion which arise as a result, the experience of that sweetness, all these have their own value.
उसका माधुर्य तुमने अनुभव किया ही है.
But
उसका अपना वैल्यू है.
the discussion of knowledge has a fantastic value. The commitment which arises from having understood the deeper truth about a certain subject and the potential it has to give your life a very positive direction is the power of exploration of truth during a satsang.
कमिटमेंट हो गया तो उस एक ज्ञान चर्चा के द्वारा जगे हुए कमिटमेंट की वजह से
This change in direction of life might not happen only through devotional singing. Even though singing is also very beautiful and should definitely take place on regular basis. I'm not saying either do this or do that. When we watch TV, then we watch and listen to it at the same time, isn't it? It's not that we first watch and then listen to it, or nor is it that watching more is important than listening.
पहले देख लूं उसके बाद सुनूंगा या देखने का महत्व सुनने के महत्व से ज्यादा है, नहीं कह सकते ऐसा.
Just like that, satsang has two integral sections. On one hand, there is singing and chanting, where there is a blast of sweetness, love and devotion. And on the other hand, there is knowledge discussion through which we get chances to improve the direction of our life. So satsang is an amalgamation of both these aspects.
दोनों एस्पेक्ट्स को मिलाकर सत्संग बनता है. अच्छा, इसका एक अनुभव अपने अपने जीवन में देख लीजिएगा.
Are you all listening? Those who have regularly experienced sadhana and have regularly also experienced satsang
और सत्य संग को भी रेगुलरली जिया होगा,
would understand this very clearly. Sadhana has its own level. And if you want to get a higher experience than that, there is no other way but to experience satsang.
I really hope you understand this.
I am not at all devaluing sadhana, my dear. Please understand this. In order to remove the clutches of the outer world from the mind, sadhana is essential. But if you want to refine your consciousness even more, if you want to aim for the top of the pyramid, then along with regular living the value of sadhana in your life, you will also have to engage in satya sang, being in the company of the truth. In the two sections of satsang, on one hand, there is a blast of energy with the flavors of devotion, love, sweetness, celebration. And on the other hand, there is an effort to understand life and one's own self through knowledge. One gets a kick out of understanding the truth and then taking commitments which uplifts one's life. So satsang has fantastic value. But if you want to go even higher than that, then there is no choice but to engage in seva, service, my dears. And those who have tasted the nectar of seva will understand what I am saying. The kick one gets in living life by taking higher responsibilities and being useful has no match. Sadhana literally appears a little pale in comparison. Satsang also appears to be okay in front of that experience. Are you all listening to me? I am not expecting that all would have experienced this. What I am saying is, This is relevant for the top of the top of the top of the pyramid of evolution. If you've had that experience of Seva, Seva means Saiva, becoming like the divine. It is an effort to be like Him, the divine. Observe the divinity. The sun is unconditionally giving energy. Bhagavana. The Sanskrit word for God, Bhagwan, is made up of 5 letters, which denote the 5 elements of the universe: earth, water, air, space, and fire. Just like the divinity represented by these 5 elements is in an unconditional giving mode, Seva, Saiva, is the training of the soul to live like them, to be like the divine. Saiva, it is training to become like the divine. I am saying these words Sadhana-Satsang-Seva rhyme well, so we will keep using these colloquial terminologies. But in my life experience, with my understanding, Seva doesn't just mean service for me. It means being responsible. I have never felt that I have done some service, but I have always felt that I have taken bigger responsibilities. Responsibility is one such flavor of consciousness that lets you exist and live in all those domains where you have taken responsibility.
तुम जितनी जिम्मेदारियां लोगे, तुम्हें वहां जीने का मौका देता है. I hope you understand. Responsibility is what Seva means for me.
Look at your own lives. Even if you are physically present here, but wherever you have taken responsibility, you exist there as well, right?
आप गौर से देखिएगा, फिजिकली यहाँ बैठे हैं, लेकिन आप वहाँ भी जी रहे हैं.
If anything happens there, you are already there. You are already a part of it. So responsibility gives you such a beautiful opportunity to expand yourself. I am saying keep expanding your responsibility and eventually engulf and take the responsibility of the entire existence, the Brahman. This is the training of being like Him. I hope you understand. After freeing the mind from the 5 sensory pleasures and the tamasic pleasures of the outer world, while practicing sadhana for the upliftment of consciousness, understanding deeper truths of life, and even understanding your role in the profound manner through satsang,
सूक्ष्म परख के लिए सत्संग और
and then taking responsibility for the whole existence.
संपूर्ण ब्रह्म की जिम्मेदारी लेते हुए पूर्णतया उपयोगी होकर
the Brahman,
ब्रह्म की
the
जिम्मेदारी
effort
लेते हुए
to be like the divine, like Him,
उनके
is what
जैसा
Seva is.
स्वयं का अस्तित्व बना लेने की चेष्टा यही सेवा है. अच्छा, एक एग्जाम्पल से
I will take
सेवा
an example to explain
खेल
this game
समझाऊंगा.
of Seva. To
शुरुआत करते
recap,
हैं,
how
इस
much
बाहर
ever
की
time,
दुनिया
energy
में
and
तुम
mind you give
कितना
to
भी
the
time,
outer
energy,
world,
mind डाल दो, ना
neither
सत
Sat
चढ़ेगा, ना
nor
चित
Chit
चढ़ेगा,
nor
ना आनंद
Ananda
चढ़ेगा.
will increase.
अच्छा,
And
वो
keep in mind the purpose of
सच्चित
life
आनंद
and dharma
को
also, which is
और
to raise and
परिपक्व करते
refine the
जाने का
levels
जो
of
धर्म
Satchit
का
Anand,
पर्पस है,
in order
उसको
to
मन में
understand
अगर
well
एक रेफरेंस की तरह रखा होगा तो ये बात और क्लियरली समझ में आएगी तुम्हें.
how
बाहर की
much ever
दुनिया को
time,
कितना
energy,
भी
mind
time,
you give
energy,
to the
mind
outer
दे दो,
world, you are not going
कुछ
to
नहीं
get
मिलने
anything.
वाला.
As
जैसे
soon
ही
as the breath
एक
stops,
श्वास
the
टूटेगी,
body drops,
शरीर
and
खत्म,
whatever you
बाहर की
accumulated in the
दुनिया में
outer
जो
world
कुछ
is
भी
going to
इकट्ठा
be
हुआ है,
irrelevant.
एक
Will get
साथ में,
switched
एक
off
ही
for
क्षण
you
में
just
पूरा का पूरा
in one
स्विच ऑफ होने
moment.
वाला है.
If you would have
आज
given your
इंद्रियों के
time,
भोगों
energy,
की
and
तरफ
mind to
अपना
5
time,
sensory
energy, mind
pleasures,
दिया होगा,
then time would be wasted, energy would be depleted,
हुई होगी,
and most
सबसे
importantly,
important,
the mind would be
contaminate हुआ
contaminated.
होगा.
And after understanding the importance of sattvic pleasures,
समझते हुए
the more time, energy, and mind
दिया होगा,
you gave for sadhana, the more your life got uplifted.
समृद्ध होता
The more you spent time, energy, and mind for Satyasang, being in the company of truth, to understand your own self. In proportion to that, you got opportunities for understanding your own self and life.
उतना
The more you understand life, the more intensely love, devotion, and celebration got established in your consciousness.
स्थापित हुआ होगा तुम्हारी चेतना में.
But beyond that,
परे जाकर
the satisfaction, the level, the maturity, and the quality of joy you experience after being useful, after doing even a bit of seva, is impossible to experience after any activity done with a self-oriented or a selfish motive for yourself, my dears.
उस लेवल का, उस क्वालिटी का, उस मैच्योरिटी का जॉय स्व अर्थ से अपने आप के लिए कुछ भी कर लिया जाए, वो मिलने की संभावना नहीं है, माय डियर.
Are you listening? Let us clearly understand the meaning of seva properly. Seva means the upliftment of Sat, upliftment of Chit, or upliftment of Anand in any soul's life through any of your efforts. Then seva is happening. If by your activities at the level of words, actions, or thoughts, you become an instrument for the upliftment of Sat, Chit, Anand in anyone's life, then it can be called seva.
वृद्धि के लिए तो उसको सेवा कह सकेंगे. मैं ये कह रहा हूँ,
the nature of the nature is to evolve, and if you become an instrument of that nature to support someone's process of evolution, then seva is happening.
तो सेवा हो रही है.
Are you listening to me, my dears?
वरना
Otherwise, you will end up using even this game of seva to pamper your flavors of ego.
यही इस्तेमाल कर सकोगे.
You might have the illusion that I am doing seva in spite of pampering your
मैं
limitations.
सेवा कर रहा हूँ भाई, ये भ्रम भी पाल सकोगे, मैं ये कह रहा हूँ.
Let's understand this way. Suppose you did the seva of feeding someone. We can, okay, you can do it, of course. If you are not able to do anything else, so you gave food to someone. And that would have some merit, for sure. It's better than doing nothing. But if you actually check how valuable it is, that person is anyway going to be hungry in a few hours.
That's it.
It would have some value if that person were going to starve unless you gave them food.
मिले तुम्हें कि अगर तुम उनको वो खाना नहीं खिलाते उस समय, तो वो उनका भूखे रहने का ही 4-5
At least they got some food instead of starving. But what are the chances of this happening?
कि चलो एकदम ही भूखा रहता व्यक्ति, कुछ मिल गया उसको खाने के लिए. लेकिन ऐसा होने की संभावना कितनी?
And I do not want to undervalue that kind of seva. But please understand,
लेकिन मैं ये कह रहा हूँ, थोड़ा सा जाग के
you really have to integrally look at what kind of seva you are choosing.
कभी-कभी है ना,
Sometimes what happens is your smallness, your limitedness, lack of confidence in your abilities
अपनी
would instigate you to choose
abilities के
a
अंदर
convenient
जो
seva.
पूरी तरह अविश्वास है तुम्हें, वो क्या खेल खेलता है पता है? तुम्हें वो कन्वीनियंट सेवा लेने के लिए इंस्टिगेट कर देगा.
And then that would only play such a game that it won't let you see the value. I am saying seva also should be chosen by the value of it. Say for example, suppose you offer this fantastic path of art of living, of seva, sadhana, satsang, of sudarshan kriya to someone.
का पाथ ऑफर कर रहे हो.
Look what happens to that soul.
उस एक जीवन के लिए
You are actually opening doors to infinity for that soul. Really opening doors to infinity.
में आपकी
Now, by any of your efforts at the level of thought, word, or action, by your responsibility,
आपकी जिम्मेदारी की वजह से
if that soul comes to this path, look at what it is going to do to that soul. This is the value of that seva. Are you listening to what I am saying? Once the doors to infinity open for that soul can actually go up to attaining moksha, liberation.
That is the value.
That is the value of that one small little seva that you did. And seva means you took responsibility for that soul, isn't it?
Of that soul, isn't it?
This is why when it comes to the two words used here for seva, service,
मेरे
and responsibility,
से सबसे
the word responsibility is closer to my heart.
I don't think I have done seva. I have taken responsibility of people, of the whole world.
The flavor within is of responsibility.
का भाव जिम्मेदारी का है.
I don't think I have done seva for anybody. I have taken responsibility. Gurudev's sankalp behind giving us this terminology of seva, sadhana, satsang is very beautiful, and hence we will keep using these words only. But what I am saying is that within me, the actual flavor being referred to it is responsibility. Is everyone listening?
अच्छा,
Let's look at the game of seva now.
खेल.
Suppose, one small example, I give you the responsibility of registering 20 people for the advanced program.
रजिस्टर करने की तुम सेवा लेके देखो.
In the process of enrolling 20 people for say lay advanced meditation program, you might have to talk to about 150-200 people.
से बात करनी पड़े.
And while talking with them, interacting with those 150, 200 people, look what happens to your consciousness, my dears. What they will get is a different thing altogether. But what happens to your consciousness? All your limitations will get broken. All your resistances will break. And all kinds of smallness would also get exposed. You will feel an inadequacy of abilities and skills. You will struggle when you won't be able to convince them. Sometimes you will feel that your words have no effect on people. People will bang the phone in your face. You will find it humiliating. But in all these, two fantastic things will happen. As soon as you take up that seva, two things will inevitably happen. First, your abilities, your plus points, your strengths will get exposed, and your weaknesses will also get exposed. How much ever years you do your sadhana, how much ever joyfully you engage in satsang, and in detail you understand life and yourself also. But the path-breaking, transformative paradigm shift that takes place due to seva only happens through seva. My dears,
transformative paradigm shift hota hai.
It will not happen through sadhana and satsang. How much ever you keep doing only the two of them. Through seva, through higher responsibilities, two things will happen. Your strengths will get exposed and your weaknesses will also get exposed. And the game of this is like this. When the strengths within you get exposed, they will always expand. They will get more strengthened. And when weaknesses get exposed, they always break. They get diminished and they will eventually leave you. I'm saying, I really recommend that courageously, like a warrior, like a seva warrior, with valor, take higher and higher responsibilities and let your strengths get exposed and get strengthened, and let your weaknesses get exposed and let them break. Let them turn to dust. That is when you will really start experiencing the limitlessness within yourself. Are you all listening to me? You will experience your limitlessness. I do not have any limits, and whatever responsibility I take up, it is bound to manifest. You will start experiencing this. And that is what seva, saiva, being like him is. Are you listening to me? Are you listening to me? This is when you actually understand and start experience the fantastic last stanza of the Hindi poem. Oh good man, I say the deepest truths. There is no difference between me and the divine. This is the final truth. I consider myself a form of the Guru and I bow down to myself. Oh good man, come, I say the deepest truths. Are you listening to me? Please listen carefully. I am talking about the top of the top of the top of pyramid. This narration can serve as a guideline for those who have not experienced it yet. Are you listening to me? It is not necessary, nor is it possible that everyone would have experienced it so far.
सबको अनुभव में आया होगा ये जरूरी नहीं है और पॉसिबल भी नहीं है. लेकिन अगर तुम लगोगे काम में
after listening to this narration,
तो वो
an
दिव्यता,
intention,
समष्टि
an intense desire arises to
तड़प
reach
रही
that
है कि
state,
तुम उस अनुभव तक पहुंचो।
then the purpose is served.
ये
If you
एकदम
start
अनुभव से
working
कह
to
रहा हूं
reach
मैं तुम्हें।
there, the divinity, nature itself will
The whole
support you in reaching
existence
that state,
celebrates
as it is really
when
eagerly
your
waiting to
small
help
little
the soul
soul
reach there. I am
suddenly
sharing
reaches
this
that
from my
state.
experience. The
It's a
whole
rejoice for
existence
the whole
celebrates
creation.
when even a small little soul suddenly reaches that experience.
One soul,
It's a rejoice for the
two
whole
souls,
creation when
a
one
group
soul,
of
two
small
souls,
little
a group
beautiful
of small little beautiful waves get the
get
experience.
the experience.
Oh, I am the
Oh,
ocean.
I am the ocean.
Let the nature celebrate through you, my dears. Plunge into this transformative technology.
Technology. हमने जो
We started this exploration
शुरू किया
by trying to understand Dharma.
करते करते मैं कहता हूं
Freeing the mind gradually from the maya of the outer world and the indulgences in the five senses, utilizing the time, energy, and mind for sadhana, satsang, and seva is what dharma is.
यही धर्म है.
This is the ultimate purpose of life. If not in this lifetime, then in the next one, or even after 10 lifetimes. This is what you will have to do, my dears.
Sooner or later, evolution is going to take you there. लेकिन
already happening process of evolution can be given extraordinary speed if you want to.
Extraordinary speed दे सकते हो. ये तुम्हारे हाथ में है.
It is in your hands. What will you have to do for it? Retrieve the mind from the tamasic pleasures of the outer world, save it from the rajasic pleasures of sensory indulgences, and utilize time, energy, and mind in the direction of sadhana, satsang, and seva. This is what you need to do. I am saying there is a fantastic option available. A fantastic opportunity for a paradigm shift. There are two ways to live life. In the first one, we believe ourselves to be a soul living in Maya for the sake of mundane pursuits of the outer world. And sometimes we charge up ourselves through sadhana, satsang, and seva. This can be one way of living.
ये एक तरीका हो सकता है जीने का.
I am saying there is another way to live which is also available. In the second way of living life, you declare yourself as a representative of Dharma and make sadhana, satsang and seva as the purpose of your life. And you also declare that like a game, I will also handle the maya of these mundane, worldly and domestic obligations. Are you all listening to me? The first approach is that you believe yourself to be a representative of Maya and engage sometimes in the pursuits of Dharma. And the second approach is you declare to be a representative of Dharma, and wherever you go, whoever you meet, you will be a representative of sadhana, satsang and seva. You declare yourself to be an instrument for the enrichment of Sat, Chit and Anand in the life of every soul that meets you. Declare this. This is my point. Once experience the change of this state of your mind. Change your position and establish this paradigm shift in your life. I guarantee you, the way you see your family and friends will be very different. Your job and businesses will appear very different to you. In this world of deluded, these futile parties and weddings will appear as chances for seva to you. You will go to those parties in order to catch hold of souls over there, one after the other, make them free from the quicksand of worldly maya and bring them to sadhana, satsang and seva. This is what I am telling you. Like a foolish person, don't get enrolled in their way of life when you go there. You go there as representative of the Brahman, the ultimate. Look at your family members. I'm asking you directly. Have you taken the responsibility to uplift them from the quicksand of Maya? Have you done that? It is your responsibility. Have you taken that responsibility? If you have not done it, resolve to do it now. Take commitments.
Let the world see Dharma in your consciousness. Let the world see Guru Tattva when you speak. Make that paradigm shift for your own life today.
Just like it is important to understand Dharma, it is important to understand the Maya, the illusions of the different areas of your life also. Check the Maya illusions in the world of your relationships. My dears, every soul is creating its own world as per its own distinct agendas and living its life accordingly. Observing carefully, you will see that
तुम गौर से देखो,
even they are living in this illusion that perhaps they want your upliftment,
वो भी
but
इस
all
भ्रम
they are
में जी
doing
रहे
is
हैं शायद
imposing their likes and dislikes on you.
कि वो तुम्हारा कल्याण सोच रहे हैं, लेकिन थोप रहे हैं अपने लाइक्स डिसलाइक्स तुम पर.
I am not
मैं
saying
उनको
this to
wrong
call them
करने के लिए नहीं
wrong.
कह रहा ये.
They understand
जितना
life in a
समझा
very
है
limited
जीवन,
context and they are
उसके
being
प्रति
very
बड़े
sincere
प्रामाणिक
about it.
सुन रहे
Are you listening?
उसका एक
You will
विवेक
have
का
to
फिल्टर
keep
तुम्हें
this
on रखना ही
filter
पड़ेगा.
of discrimination in your
मेरा
mind.
पॉइंट ये है,
My point is that how much
किसकी
importance
कौन सी
should you
बात
give
को
to whose
कितना महत्व
opinions
देंगे
and to which
कि
ideas?
हम अपने विवेक
This
से तय करेंगे.
we
my
should
dear.
decide by our own viveka,
कोई माँ है, कोई पिता
our
है, कोई
intelligence.
भाई बहन है, कोई माता पिता.
We won't give importance to ideas just because they are coming from our mother, father, husband or wife, boyfriend or girlfriend.
सब सुन रहे हो क्या? मैं कहता
When you
हूँ,
are
जब तुम
solidly
solid
grounded in
grounds पर
dharma,
खड़े होंगे, तभी
only
तो
then
उनको भी उनके
will you be
दलदल
able
से
to
निकाल
uplift
सकोगे.
them from their quicksand of Maya also. Otherwise, how is it possible? If you also get into the quicksand just because they are jumping into it,
अपने भी जीवन
you
का
will
कबाड़ा,
damage your life
उनका भी लाभ नहीं कर
and you will not be able to uplift them also.
सुन रहे हो क्या मेरी बात? अलग अलग क्षेत्रों की माया को समझने के लिए वो सब्जेक्ट लेकर बैठेंगे एक दिन. मैं कह रहा हूं अभी तक का सिनॉप्सिस ये है
Someday we will discuss the Maya in various areas of life also,
और 5
in
इंद्रियों
other
के
series.
तामसिक और राजसिक सुखों से मन को छुड़ाकर साधना
The synopsis so far is:
सात्विक सुखों में लगा दीजिए.
free the mind from the tamasic pleasures of the outer world, rajasic pleasures of the 5 senses,
छूटने से पहले
and engage it in the sattvic pleasures of sadhana, satsang and seva.
अपनी अंदर की दुनिया को, आपकी इंडिविजुal कॉन्शियसनेस को
And resolve firmly
ऐसा बनाना
to attain the state of blossoming of Sat Chit Anand you want your inner world to be in before you drop this body in this very lifetime, and utilize your time, energy and mind in that direction, my dears.
जय गुरु.
This is the synopsis, my dears.